Since the 1940s, the CIA has allegedly succeeded in killing a significant number of leaders around the world, either by pulling the trigger themselves or by using local military to do the dirty work for them. What caused the 1961 plane crash that killed former UN Secretary and Swedish diplomat General Dag Hammarskjöld? Some say it was the result of a pilot error, others suspect it was foul play. More than half a century on, the cause of the plane crash remains unknown. However, in July 2016, the United Nations published a much-anticipated inquiry into the crash that revealed new information about what happened. In the report, UN investigators said that they had found significant new information supporting a theory that Hammarskjöld's plane was downed by aerial attack or other interference. Those who believe this theory think the plane was deliberately shot down to prevent a meeting with Hammarskjöld and Mose Tsombe, the president of the Congolese breakaway province of Katanga. Their meeting was an attempt to negotiate an urgent ceasefire and end its civil war. The USA, however, had a vested interest to stop the peace deal. Congo's mineral wealth, with its soil abundant in deposits of copper, gold, diamonds and oil. Hammarskjöld was convinced that Western interests and mercenaries in Katanga were preventing a settlement. It is believed that the NSA may be in possession of crucial radio intercepts taken from pilots in the area at the time the Albertina came down. As of May 2017, the NSA hasn't released any information. Joe. For over 30 years, brutal dictator General Rafael Trujillo ruled over the Dominican Republic with an iron fist. It is estimated that he was responsible for the deaths of more than 50,000 people. Trujillo's tyrannical rule came to an end on the 30th of May 1961 when he was shot and killed after his blue 1957 Chevrolet Bel Air was ambushed on a road outside the Dominican capital. The ambush was the result of an assassination plot carried out by a number of men, including General Juan Tomás Díaz, Antonio de la Maza, Amado Garcia Guerrero, and General Antonio Imbert Barrera. An internal CIA memo states that there was quite extensive agency involvement with the plotters. The weapons of the assassins included 3 M1 carbines that had been supplied with the approval of the CIA. Within days of the assassination, Trujillo's son Ramphis took charge and almost everyone involved in the conspiracy and members of their extended families were rounded up and killed. The assassination of Diem, the president of South Vietnam, was the result of a successful CIA-backed coup led by General Duong Van Minh in November 1963. Diem and his advisor, his younger brother No Diem Nhi, were executed in the back of an armoured personnel carrier by Army Republic of Vietnam officers on the journey back to military headquarters at Tan Son Nhut Air Base. Diem's death caused celebration among many people in South Vietnam as his governance style had become increasingly dictatorial over time, but it also led to political chaos in the nation. In an attempt to stabilize the South Vietnamese government and beat back communist rebels, the United States became more heavily involved in Vietnam. But did the US have any prior knowledge of the coup that overthrew Diem? Most likely. Despite publicly disclaiming any participation in the planning of the coup, it was later revealed that American officials met with the generals who organized the plot and allegedly gave them encouragement to go through with the plans. Patrice Lumumba was Congo's first legally elected prime minister and the hero of Congolese independence from Belgium. However, shortly after the African country gained independence in 1960, things went downhill for poor Lumumba. A mutiny broke out in the army, and in a fateful move to suppress Belgian-supported rebels who wanted to break up the country, he turned to the Soviet Union for support. Bad idea. In the midst of the Cold War, this set off panic in London and Washington as people feared the Soviets would get a foothold in Africa. President Eisenhower was outraged. He turned to his CIA director and told him the time was up for Lumumba. So the CIA started planning his demise. After an aborted assassination attempt against Lumumba involving a poisoned handkerchief, the CIA alerted Congolese troops of his location. In January 1961, Lumumba was dead, killed by firing squad. It wasn't until 2014 that the United States recognized the CIA's active involvement in his death. President Nixon made it clear in 1970 that a CIA assassination of the new left-wing Chilean president would not be unwelcome. Nixon viewed left-wing Allende as a threat to democracy in Chile and Latin America. So for 3 years, his administration worked with the CIA to instigate a coup against him. In 1973, with the help of the CIA, Chile's armed forces staged a coup d'etat against Allende's government. Fearing for his life, Allende retreated with his supporters to La Moneda, the fortress-like presidential palace in Santiago, which was bombed by Air Force jets. Despite surviving the aerial attack, Allende allegedly fatally shot himself as troops stormed the burning palace. Ironically, the democratically elected Allende was succeeded by the brutal dictator, General Augusto Pinochet, who, during the period of his rule, allegedly murdered around 3,000 people and sent up to 80,000 people to concentration camps. Salvador Allende wasn't the only victim of the CIA-led coup following the 1970 Chilean election. The commander-in-chief of the Chilean army, René Schneider, was also assassinated during a botched kidnapping attempt. In the days after the Chilean election, a plot to kidnap Schneider was developed. You see, neutralizing Schneider was vital for a military coup, as he would never support it. So the CIA supplied a group of Chilean officers led by General Camilo Valenzuela with sterile weapons for the operation, which was to be blamed on Allende supporters. After 2 failed attempts to assassinate Schneider, the coup plotters set out to kidnap the commander. His official car was ambushed at a street intersection of the capital city of Santiago. Schneider drew a gun to defend himself and he was shot point blank several times. Military courts in Chile found that Schneider's death was caused by 2 military groups, one led by General Roberto Urbano Vieju and the other by the CIA's man Valenzuela. The lawsuit also asserted that the CIA had aided both groups.